The Key to the City. Written by Passion Quill. Read by Arashi. Good morning, my beautiful workers! Steam crashed through the pipes. The swarms of mechanical wonders dragged themselves through the city of metals, some already pushing past the walls, laying the metal out further and further, expanding the pipes to these new lands. We are here to work another wonderful day! Like slaves, they toiled. No true light behind the bulbs that made their eyes. Only the fluorescent to glower down on their endless work. Jay is back once more for your daily reminders! Steam crashed through the pipes. They built. Please remember to refuel at the pump stations. Your brothers down below work tirelessly to keep that steam flowing for you. Let's not let their efforts go to waste, shall we? The hum of machinery, the groan of their joints. Still, the mechanical wonders whirred, if only for the mantra of their creator. They built. Please remember that I am your creator, and as your creator, I am your master. My words are your music, and you must dance every single beat. Hammers crashed on sheet metals, nails digging into the sides of what used to stand as cobbled creations of humanity. They built. Please remember that no matter the circumstances, you must keep expanding our beautiful city. Toil until the ends of days, my cuties. They did not respond, could not think, only functioned on the crackling of the speakers, once a day, reminding them of their duty. They built. And finally, as I always end these adorable reminders, please remember to kill any humans on sight. They built. Happy days! From high above, the workers toil in the copper-plated skyscraper, now used for the storage of the gears, rested an attic. In that attic, a pipe ran through the plated walls, from a vent in the corner, through the small kitchenette of broken and semi-functional appliances. The condensation of the steam that flowed through dripped into a coffee pot, half filled with its fresh water. The pipe trailed onto the floor, tracing up the countertop, loaded with plates, cutlery, unused sticky notes, and 7 feathers, surrounding a cracked porcelain bowl of ink. The pipe curled back into the wall, another leak in its system above a small planter box, bustling with vegetables. It followed the molding trim behind the bed, more so a mattress littered with fabric, and pillows stitched of the same, up until it reached the final wall of the room. There, a window looked out over the city of despair, and upon that final wall was a corkboard, bright black letters staining its top with the title, The Key to the City. Shuichi stood in front of the corkboard, listening to the final words of the daily reminder. No matter how long he had been trapped in that city, hidden in the unassuming attic, that chirpy, woman voice would never stop sending chills down his spine. But no, he had to stay focused. His finger remained on the sticky note in the middle. 2 initials sat at the top. J.E. Only vague information under it. He only knew 2 things. The creator was the creator, or so she gloated every morning. And on the seldom times that she spoke of herself, she referred to herself as she. A woman, the creator. That was all he knew. He traced his finger up to red string, next to the sticky note in question. The next piece of the mystery, still unsolved. There, a chibi drawing of the robots remained, all their information listed below. They had decided to call them steam slaves, boxes of metal with light bulb eyes and rusted joints, powered from steam. They were the backbones of that mysterious city of wonder. Those anthropomorphic machines expanded the city outward every day. The city J.E. had dubbed Towa City. Thousands of them had been built, the number only increasing, as some seemed to be responsible for the reproduction process, as J.E. had called it, a factory line of steam slaves that built more of their kind. Just below the city lay the piping network, a formation of the steamwork, and hundreds worked down there as well. One row of steam slaves worked even lower, the miners, responsible for gathering the metals used in the unfathomable project. The steam slaves worked quick. When Shuichi first came to investigate the mysterious city, he was able to walk to its exit in 2 hours. Now, just 6 years later, it took him days to reach the wall they had built, while he remained ignorant, trapping him within the confines of the city, unable to reach the outside world. He had left his investigation to die. All he cared about was escape, though in doing so, he understood that he may have to look for answers. Thus, the string board. He continued his connection, following the string to that prior mentioned, codename Clock Cave Wall 80. It surrounded the city, with gates that exuded steam at such a force it would kill a man in an instant, leaving only the steam slaves to exit and re-enter in their journey to build more city, building a new wall and tearing down the wall each time reasonable progress was made. From the tally on the calendar, they had reached its 18th edition since the start of their logging. With the steamed gates and guarded top, there truly was no escape through it. The only escape would be in solving more of the mystery. But if the wall existed guarded, and the steam halted when a human walked in to the city, another unanswered mystery, that led to the belief that someone was being kept inside the city, someone who the steam slaves, and by extension J.E., were aware of, which is why it could not be them, which led to Shuichi's other sticky note, other stowaways, and all the proof connected to it. Firstly, J.E. ended every announcement reminding the steam slaves to kill humans on sight, though it was not irrevocable proof, as it could be just a message to any who are entering the city for the first time. The guards facing inwards, rather than outwards, surely was. Of course, Shuichi had one last piece of proof, stronger than all the others, and Shuichi was quick to drag his finger up to that final sticky note. The string surrounding it was in the shape of the heart. It was... The trapdoor slammed open. Shuichi's head snapped to the side, seeing as slowly one of those disgusted, plated heads and dead eye bulbs raised through the opening. With the breath outward mimicking the sound of steam through its exit, the metal arms heaved their way into the attic, standing in full glory, staring emptily at Shuichi. A step closer. Shuichi rolled his eyes. "Don't try to scare me." Slowly, hands came up, gripping the side of its face, and popped the head off, showing the lax smile beneath. "See? One of these days, that's gonna get you. One of these days, we're going to actually be discovered, Kokichi, and I'm just going to think it's you trying to scare me and get my head caved in with a wrench." "Damn, Shushu is finally getting more graphic." The purple hair swished about as Kokichi moved to the corner of the room where Shuichi's own disguise was kept, immediately starting to remove the suit, but pointedly keeping one hand hidden from Shuichi. "I found a present for you, you know." "Oh?" Now, in his natural, stained clothes, Kokichi slowly approached Shuichi, keeping that usual sleazy grin plastered on heavily and a hand behind his back. When their chests were merely inches apart, Kokichi zipped the bag from behind his back and shoved it into Shuichi's arms. Shuichi damn near choked seeing it. "You found a bag of coffee beans? And it's not even expired," Kokichi cooed. "One of those steam sluts was bringing it in from the outside, but I managed to convince him J.E. had requested it delivered to her. And what do you know? He handed it over. That was so risky doing something like this. Shuichi huffed, but cradled the bag like Kokichi had brought back a newborn. And I thought I told you not to keep calling them that. If you keep banning my super smart nicknames, I'm gonna run out. And if I run out, I'm definitely not gonna figure out how to get that coffee pot working as something other than a water collector. Shuichi could only laugh, smiling down at the only company he had in that fluorescent purgatory. Kokichi was concrete proof other stowaways existed. He pushed himself further and further back, feeling scrapes along his palms as they were forced against the rough floor. His back hit the wall of the alley, surrounded by darkness, ankle blue and blemished. The only thing Shuichi could process were those dead, cold eyes. That was it. 2 years he had managed to survive. 2 years, and he truly thought he would be saved. But there he would die. To one of the machines he would curse with his dying breath. Wrench raised high above his head. Shuichi closed his eyes, finally ready to face defeat. The sharp sound of the heavy object's collision with his skull sounded a lot more like something colliding with metal. A crash. He snapped his eyes open. The steam slave lay at his feet, bulbs flickering, before out entirely. Well, that was a close one. A voice. A real voice. He looked up. It was like he was staring at an angel smeared with oil and grime. A chirpy smile, a shattered bottle in his hand. He tossed it aside. This boy, he looked so young, still with the round cheeks and doe-like eyes of a small toddler. And yet, there were years of maturity, battle, and hardship written into the pores of his skin. A stowaway, just like Shuichi. All he could do was stare at that plastic grin. The boy kneeled, poking at his ankle. Shuichi flinched. What the hell? How else was I gonna get you to speak? The boy rolled his eyes. I totally get it. Seeing another person here is super weird. But you don't gotta go ignoring me. Trust me, you do not want me as an enemy. I'm the one controlling these things. Really? Shuichi squeaked, trying desperately to push himself back further. What kind of monster? Nah, that was a lie, the boy snickered. You're pretty gullible, huh? Do I really look like I have any control in this situation? It was a fair thing to say. The boy really was skin and bones. When was the last time you had something to eat? That's a pretty boring question, the boy deadpanned. Let's spice it up. When was the last time I knew when the last time I ate was? The question made his head swim, as did every other part of the first human interaction he had had in 2 years. But the boy just laughed. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that one either. I have food, Shuichi whispered quietly. Supplies I've stolen from the steam slaves bringing resources to J.E.'s suite. Is that what the peeps who carry in the stuff are doing? Kokichi tilted his head. Wow, you must know a lot. Alrighty then, here's the deal. I'll help you walk back to wherever the food is, but only if I get something when I get there. Of course, Shuichi breathed out, still lost in the sensation of speaking with someone. But who are you? And how did you get... The boy wrapped an arm around Shuichi's waist, heaving him up. I think we both need to give answers to those later. But for now, we're in one of the most populated parts, and I'd really like to get out of here before our legs are ripped off. Shuichi grimaced as the boy began walking them forward. Do you really have to be so graphic? Kokichi, the boy answered, smiling proudly up at him. Kokichi Oma. I'm Shuichi Saihara. It's nice to meet you, Oma. Nice to meet you too, Sayhara-chan. Sayhara-chan? Earth to Shoo-Shoo! Kokichi called, poking his cheek. Did my gift give you an orgasm or something? Oh my God, no! Shuichi cried, face burning red. Then, what were you thinking about? You. Oh, so I gave you an orgasm. Kokichi! Shuichi was ready to push him away in flusterment, but Kokichi seemed to have other plans, standing on the tips of his toes to lock their lips together. Shuichi just sighed in defeat, wrapping an arm around the shorter's waist as he leaned in closer. The two had lived together in the molding, metal attic for the last 4 years. They researched, raided, lived, and loved. Their situation was less than ideal. But together, it was so much easier. You know, I'm terrified every time you go out, Shuichi whispered, leaning away to give them both a chance to breathe. Kokichi just leaned into his chest. I have to, Shoo-Shoo. We won't discover anything just tending to our plant babies. Stop calling them that. We have to eat those. I've moved on from naming them. That's progress. Only because I cried after you ate Nora. The point is, Kokichi huffed, leaning up to kiss Shuichi on the cheek, I'll only find us way out of here by trying to. You do your detective work, and I'll do my field work. Our teamwork is going to get us somewhere eventually. Shuichi looked to his string board. 4 years there together. They had settled into that life. Though escape really did feel hopeless, neither of them even knew what lay outside the city anymore. Why no one had come to their rescue, if anyone even knew the city existed anymore, or what was inside. But it was not hopeless. Somewhere there was a way, and if it meant a better life for Kokichi, he would search until he found it. He knew Kokichi felt the same. I promise you, Shoo-Shoo, Kokichi whispered, sweet words against his lips. I'm going to find you the key to this city.